I'm Mike, and for the past 7 years since I began this channel, the primary subject of this channel has been hiking and backpacking. Over the years, I felt to expand some of the topics to Q&A, questions and answers. I got so many questions I wanted to answer people's concerns and thoughts, and wanted to know about gear and things like that. So then I started gear reviews. Then I did food recipes, whether you're car camping or backpacking. I also did tips for older and newer hikers, things like that. And also, most recently, SUV life. So most of my videos have always been about, of course, the outdoors, but camping, hiking, and backpacking. But I want to talk about this new series that I'm super excited about, which I call Why Are We Here? For many of you, you've followed me for a long time. A lot of you are new to my channel, so I'll explain really quick. There's a couple reasons why I've chosen to call this new series Why Are We Here? And as I go along, it'll be more and more clear. There's a couple reasons, really. The first one, if you followed me for a while, you know that I had a quest in 2019 to try to hike the whole Pacific Crest Trail, which is 2,653 miles. I had chosen to start at the Mexico border and go northbound to Canada. So in 2019, I went to do the whole thing. I planned on being 5 or 6 months, but I got hurt after 902 miles, so that stopped me. From then on, I've been going back every single year trying to complete it and do very large chunks, but the last 3 years I've basically been stopped by fires and other things. So I am now 1,690 miles in and have 953 miles to go, so I'm a ways away, but I've done a lot of hiking. And 2019 marked kind of the start and the stopping of the old Mike and the new Mike. And I'll go over that in a minute, but that's when kind of my life changed, and I made a conscious decision to start trying to change my life and go after the things I want to do in life. Before I get into what I did in my previous life before 2019 and when I started to change myself and the way I thought, I get comments once in a while. I got one recently that wasn't rude in any way, but you know, people are very honest. Obviously, it's easier to be honest when you're not face to face and you leave in a comment. But I mentioned in one of my most recent videos that, you know, I work 2 jobs, that I save all year to go on these hikes, and I had to take leave from work for 2 months, so I have to be able to afford my bills at home and the bills on trail. And I've been doing that for 4 years. And on my first hike, I saved enough money to hopefully be out there for a half a year and cover all that. So it was a lot of money and a lot of work. It took me 2 years to save up. And I had a comment saying basically, oh, I'm surprised you had to work. I thought you were just independently wealthy because you go on so many adventures and you get to do so many things besides trying to finish the PCT. And that is true, but I've changed my life and arranged my life to be able to do those things. And those are benefits, but I suffer, and I have to kind of scrimp and save in other areas to be able to do those things, which I'll go over in some of these videos. So I wanted to address that I do work hard, and because I got out of my previous life, which I made a lot more money, I do have to work 2 regular types of jobs, quote unquote regular, to make the same kind of money so I can afford to do it. But I do what I can do, whatever it takes to get out there, and that's part of my life change and what I'll be going over. So as I mentioned, I attempted my thru hack in 2019, but the change in my life started around 2015. I had been in the corporate world 20 plus years, and I was in regional sales manager, so an outside sales rep. And it's just funny how I started hiking and then it turned into backpacking in 2015. But at the exact same time, I was extremely disenchanted at work. I didn't know exactly why, but some of the reasons were, if you've ever done corporate sales, I made good money, but I had a lot of pressure on me, a lot of expectations. I had to reach certain goals or else I was gonna lose my job, so I was always looking over my shoulder. I worked 80 plus hours a week. So although I made really good money, you know, 6 figures, I had no time. I had money, and if I went and bought something, I found that it didn't even really make me happy anyway, that I had no time. And so not only was I stressed and working a million hours, but I had no quality of life. And I was giving, it was just like tearing my soul out working for companies. And not to mention cutthroat bosses and people I work with, fellow salespeople that were jealous or would try to hinder your sales, all the drama stuff that you would deal with, unprofessional bosses, people that are rude to me, threats, you know, if you don't do this or that, you know, it's your job, all this stuff that you deal with. And I felt like, you know, although I took really great pride in my job and myself, and I thought I meant a lot to the companies I work for, I really didn't. And it's hard to realize that sometimes, but we are just a number sometimes. No matter how much I brought revenue-wise to the companies, it was never enough. It was never appreciated, never thanked. I was never acknowledge things like that. It was very, very tough. And so I just had a crossroads in 2015 when I started day hiking, and I've said it many times, I'm a bigger guy, I'm 6'3" and like 230 or 40. And it was hard when I first started. I've been an athlete my whole life and excelled at athletics, but hiking was hard for me. I started with small hikes and built up, but I built up my physical stamina, but mostly my mental mind. And some of the sports I played were all mostly mental games, and I was very good at that. So once I got enough hiking in, I became a strong hiker mentally, and that's what it really takes. So once I found hiking, it kind of changed my perspective. The reason why I'm talking about hiking is because it changed my perspective about my work. And I kept thinking, why are we here? I really, more like, why am I here? So I'm throwing that question out to you, why are we here? But it's really, why are you here and why am I here? And I just realized that a lot of things I believed in and thought I was supposed to do, and what society tells us to do, and what we're expected to do of ourselves from my expectations, weren't that important, and that I wasn't really living a life for me, I was living it for other people. So that's what a lot of this series is going to be about. Lastly, on that note too, I realized I was not living the life that I wanted. I was living it for other people, or the image that I wanted to portray and make other people happy and make me seem successful and things like that. But I kept going back to, why am I doing this to myself? The stress and everything I'm putting myself through, and how unhappy I was, and for what? It just really made me think, I could have probably got to this point without the outdoors, but the outdoors helped accelerate it. When I hiked and I backpacked, even though I told you I wasn't very good at it, I was set free from all the stress, the worry. When I get on trail to this day, my mind clears, and I try to be present and enjoy the view and enjoy the people if I'm with. But a lot of times I hike by myself, but I try to be present. And it's weird, when I get on trail, all the pressure, all the worries, all the thoughts, all of it goes away. I literally don't have conscious thoughts about that. And my only thoughts are, wow, what's around the next corner? Where's my next water source? Where am I going to take a break? And where am I going to camp tonight? Things like that. But not all the stuff and the minutia that we're stuck in everyday life. And I'm going to kind of answer my own question here. I wrote down some notes. I'm going to have to actually read it. There's too many of them. But when I kept saying, why am I putting myself through this? Here's some of the reasons why that I thought of and wrote down. Why do we all put ourselves through some of the stuff with these companies and the careers and the jobs we have chosen? Here's a few. For one, it's expected of us, but by who? Family, friends, colleagues, society, things like that. We're trained to go to college and just go right in, so we go to school, I don't know what it is, 12 years all the way through high school, and then college, we get in debt, up to our generally for a better school and a bigger degree, because we're expected to do it. That's the measure of society's success. A lot of us take jobs in a career we may in time grow out of and eventually hate. We all evolve as human beings, and I always say this, it's the same with relationships. Relationships are hard too, just like a job is. We grow and we change, and so when you're with a mate, it's always impressive when you're with somebody that's married for a long time, if they're happy, because what you appreciate when you're 20, 30, 40, 50 is all different. And same in a relationship, and the same at a job. We evolve, so sometimes the very thing you chose is not what you would have chosen 20 years later. So that's always a concern, is am I in the right career, and am I going to like this forever? And the last thing is, we are judged and measured by our position, our title, how much stuff we have acquired, measured by the size of our house, type of car we drive, and so much more. So in reality, many of us live a life for the acceptance and approval of others. And I felt like, if I can speak for myself, I was there. I realized that I was doing this to fit in, to be accepted, what was expected of myself. In the meantime, I was slowly killing myself and miserable and unhappy. I fell into, I'm not a big drinker in general, but I fell into drinking periodically. I've never done drugs, never smoked pot or done drugs, but yeah, that was my way to cope, and I totally get it. It was like, like I said, I worked a million hours, was super unhappy, never had time for anything. I had no time to do the things I love to do. And I got to the point where I don't even know what I love to do anymore. I just gave it all up because we're expected, and I expected of myself to do a job and a career. So lastly, in 2015, I was sitting in my office and I just thought, is this why I'm here? like, is this what I want for my life? I didn't know what I wanted for the answer for that, but I knew that where I was and what I was doing, I was absolutely unhappy with, and I didn't understand why I was going to continue to put myself through it. And so that's where the change started. I really had to question myself, and I'm just so lucky that some people say things happen for a reason. I found the outdoors and wilderness and almost like a cure for what my problem was at the exact same time. So it was really, really an amazing, evolving time in 2015. So in the end, I knew I needed to make a major change. I had no idea what that was, but I didn't have any self-help books at the time, and I didn't think of watching videos like I do on YouTube now. And I was thinking, all I know that I want to do is, at the time I was about 53. And I said to myself, my son's just about grown. I'm single, so I'm not married. I don't have ties in that area. And I decided that I don't know how I'm going to do this, but from now on, for the rest of my life, within reason, I'm going to have memories and experiences over things. I want time over money. Obviously, we need money to pay for things, and you can figure out how to make money if you're unhappy where you are now. And I'm not telling you to leave your jobs. And I'm going to say one more thing to this. There are people that could not just up and leave their career and their job in a big company like I did, or things like that. I totally get that. Some people, their career is their identity. That's what they do and they love, and they also want the security. They don't want to up and leave and go in a van and travel the country and do it. None of that looks attractive, and it's disconcerting and scary, and I get that. Not everybody has or even wants to take the leap of faith to do something like that. So I get that, and I'm not down in that in any way. So I'm not trying to talk people out of, I'm not telling people to quit their job. I'm just telling you that from my perspective, what I was thinking and experiencing. And I'm going to share that over I'm going to share a lot of personal things over the upcoming videos that I think will help you out and kind of make you think, if in case you are unhappy or you're thinking about things you want to do or your passions or dreams, things like that. We're going to go over a lot of that. So I've been making a list for a while of some of the topics that I'm going to make videos for and cover. It's kind of very encompassing. It's not just saying follow your dreams or quit your job or do this. I'm going to have a lot of topics that envelop the whole thing. It will help you. Some will resonate, some won't. But for me, they're all the different topics that I've been looking at, and I'm going to be reading books, but I've been watching videos right now and just trying to absorb as much information as I can. And I can't wait. I'm very passionate, as you can tell, to share this information and maybe help some of you too. So video 2 will be actually pretty personal. I'm going to go over more information about me, how I got to who I am, and some of the tough upbringing I had and some of the tough things that have happened to me. I think sometimes, I know I shouldn't speak for other people. For me, I'll look at a beautiful, famous actor, actress, or famous athlete, things like that. They have all the money in the world. They get what we think is the most attractive partner. They get to meet famous people and presidents, things like that. And we think they have great lives, and we consider that success, right? And in a way, that is success, depending on what you consider success. But we know that most of these people have very volatile relationships, lots of divorce, lots of pressure, lots of things that go wrong, just like the rest of us. So maybe they have money, so that kind of solves some of our stressors in life. I know money situation stresses me out a lot. But I think we assume that people that have all this other stuff going for them, that their life's perfect. And so, I feel like I've really starting to turn my life around and be happy, and I've been doing the things I want to do for quite a while now, and just making it happen however I can. It's been very, very difficult in other ways, which I'll share, but I'll go over the episode 2 will be a little bit about my past and who I am, and you'll be surprised, I think, of some of the things that I've experienced and gone through, and I still choose to be positive and happy for the most part. I mean, we're all human, right? But and now later in my life, I am 60 years old now. I just turned 60 in August, and it is September 2022 right now. And I kind of looked at it. My mortality kind of hit me this year. I've never really thought about my mortality, but if I'm lucky and I live to 90, let's say, and I'm 60, I've lived through 2/3 of my life. So what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And if you're watching this and you're 20 or 30, you can still apply some of this stuff, right? But I've been writing down some topics of some of the videos I want to make. I'm going to go over that and get this long video to end soon. So I appreciate you being patient. So these are some of the topics that I'm going to be making videos, and there's going to be more. But you can see by some of these topics that they kind of encompass not just, hey, I don't like this job, I'm going to go to that job, but how do I change my life around? How do I change my attitude? How do I look at things differently? How do I manifest things and just change my thinking? I can tell you that I'm a pretty happy, easygoing guy. I can be very defensive in weird ways that I don't like, and it's something I'm working on. One of the things, I drive a lot between my regular life and then I do DoorDash on the side, delivering food, and I'm in traffic a lot. I put a lot of miles on my car, and I get super frustrated with bad drivers and cutting me off and rude. And I live in California, Southern California, and there's a lot of bad drivers, and I don't like that about myself. And I get pissed off, and maybe I yell at somebody. I used to flip people off, and it's like, the only person that's upset is me. I'm the only person that's doing anything. I'm not making them upset. And I kept thinking, why am I so defensive about somebody? I see it as them doing something to me, but they could care less who I am or what I'm. They're not doing it to me. It's not personal, and that's their problem if they're cutting people off and being rude. And so I'm working on that. First of all, I'm not flipping anybody off anymore. It's got me in trouble when I was in my 20s, so I'm not doing that anymore. But also, I'm not going to give that power and that anger to other people. So that's just a start of some of the things we're going to go over, and this could be for anything, right? I used to get frustrated standing in line for things. I'm a very impatient person over certain things, and other areas I'm super patient. So there are things about me that I'm working on, and so here's just some of the topics that we'll be talking about. And one is your happiness. You are in complete control of your happiness. If you want to make a life change like I did and get in and start hiking, or learn to play an instrument, or learn a language, taking the leap of faith, if you want to change your career, that's a bigger deal. How to maybe help you do that and follow your dreams. Also, uncluttering your life, simplifying your life, healing and remaking yourself. Minimalistic lifestyle, which is uncluttering, that's kind of something I've been working on, which also includes downsizing, things like that. Also, staying away from negativity, so staying focused. If you have people around you that are negative, not hanging around with them. It's sometimes a hard choice, but sometimes you have to make that choice. Creating the life you want, and much more. And then also, lastly, and there's going to be more, but slowing down and creating a more simple life, a happy life, and go after what your hopes and dreams and passions are. Okay, and lastly, I have a final challenge for you guys, and actually 2 challenges, and I'm very serious about this, so please try to do this. Only probably 0.5% of people that watch my videos ever leave a comment, but I want every single person that watches this video to leave a comment. If money were no object, what is one of your biggest, and it could be more than one, but passions, goals, or just something you've always wanted to do? It doesn't matter what it is, but I want you to put it in a comment. It helps out. It helps me know, but also it's going to help others out, because we are all in the same boat, right? And maybe there's a passion you bring up that somebody's forgotten. Oh yeah, I was a kid, I wanted to learn French, and I never did it. I still want to do it. But share with your passions and your goals. Like, what would you do right now if money were no object? You didn't have to go to work. You didn't have to continue raising your kids. You didn't have all the other obligations. What would that be? And the second one is, even if you leave a comment, but especially if you don't leave a comment, I'm going to do a challenge for you guys. Every single person, even if you leave a comment, do a separate comment and put a tree, preferably a pine tree. If it could be any tree emoji from your phone or whatever. Hopefully you're using your phone. I know some of you guys watch it on the TV. But I want you guys to go to my comments and leave a tree emoji. That tells me that you appreciated the video, but also that you watched to the end. It shows me that you like this content. If you do like this video, that helps me out a lot. It helps with the algorithm. This video will get out to, in this series, will get out to a lot more people and hopefully help people. So like it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And of course, lastly, I always say it, but if you guys can subscribe, even if you don't care about the hiking videos I do, if you want to get refreshed, and maybe look into changing your life in some way. Listen, if you have a career that you love, then this isn't a topic that you need to worry about. But we're going to go over happiness, decluttering, simplifying your life, being a minimalist, in control of your happiness. So if there's other areas besides your career that you want to change and work on and improve, this is the series for you. It's going to be great. So please leave lots of comments, tree emojis if you can. If there's other subjects besides this that I'm still researching other subjects that I feel will be appropriate for this series. But if you think of some things that I haven't mentioned, remember I just did an overview, but please let me know below. But please like, subscribe, and leave that tree emoji. And why are we here? It's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to do the next videos. And oh, by the way, this is my first video on my new iPhone 14. The lighting's a little funky, but I hope you can tell it's a little clear, but we will see. Can't wait to learn to use it. And until the next video in episode 2, we'll definitely see you down the road.